Oh, sacred souls, it's Susanna from Alamanic Shaman. So, what I have here for us tonight is healing our own inner demons and shadows that are coming to the surface. And what I have here, so basically, if you remember, 2 nights ago was the last ceremony that I filmed. And the next day, I actually did a lot of purging. And then in the evening, I had to take care of some other personal stuff, some 3D stuff. So I wasn't able to do a ceremony last night. But I did find something else yesterday. In the hallway of my building, there was a torn piece of a plastic bag, of a garbage bag, that the way it was lying down is pretty much as you can see it here now, which looks like a dark spirit, like a ghost kind of, right? So the body, and actually this almost looks like arms or wings, and then here the head, right? So like they're flying like woo. And there's a bit of a story to that, because on the one hand, it can be someone else's darkness that is haunting us. I've also had a lot of like really heavy energies again, like yesterday and today. But since we've done the ceremony of like bringing stuff to the surface, getting unstuck, some deep trauma that we may not have been consciously aware of, I feel that that's part of it, but it is connected to the devil energies, the narcissistic energies, all this kind of dark ego-driven stuff. And today I found a wooden fork, which to me is usually the sign of, like, it symbolizes the devil's pitchfork in my personal symbology as I've learned, right? So basically, what I highly recommend is that you tune into the signs you're getting and what they mean to you, right? So I don't specifically follow what symbology is given to a certain item by a culture. Sometimes I do, but the most important thing is always like what it means to me. And the way that I was shown to banish the devil energies was with a wooden mannequin, and I had attached a wooden fork as a pitchfork to it, right? So since then, whenever I'm shown a wooden fork, I know what it means, right? So as you go on in your journey, I'm certain that you will also find your own symbology that may not apply to someone else, but that's what it means to you, right? So anyhow, so the devil energy is basically like the narcissistic energies, right? And I have a little story that I want to share with you. Oh, and I put the stick here because I feel like we may have to like break those energies. I might also just break the pitch, like the wooden fork. Although I'm going to feed it to the fire anyhow, so I may be guided to keep it for that and break the stick instead. We'll see how that goes. But it's about 2 years ago, after my dad passed away, my sisters and I, so my sisters are really my half sisters on my dad's side. And I was in contact with one of them, but not the other two, because we didn't grow up together and both of our mothers didn't want contact. And my dad, according to what he told me, went along with it. I don't think he necessarily wanted that, but that was the situation, right? So my one sister that I had gotten close to had an issue with another sister who had cut her off many years ago, and in the process of, dealing with the inheritance and stuff, I ended up being sort of the in-between person. Not that I really wanted to be in that position, but I was the only more or less neutral one in the whole situation. And then at some point, that sister that I was close to was directing a lot of anger, hate, and resentment towards the one who was not talking to her. And even though she knew I was an empath or like clairsentient, right? Either she didn't fully put two and two together, she didn't realize, or she didn't believe me, or she just didn't care. But I think it's one of the first two. But she sent so much hateful energies towards our other sister, but I got those energies because I was kind of in between them. And when I called her on it, she denied it, right? But those energies were so vile and forceful. And at the time, I was working as a delivery driver. I had stuff go all crazy around me. I had tons of energy interference where stuff just started malfunctioning and going wrong. And it was I was almost hit by this wave of evil, basically, but it was around me. It didn't fully come inside me, but it was almost like it was attacking me, but it was like a dark entity. And at the time I had learned not magic, so I ended up like tying it down with like not magic. And when I banished it back to hell, it got better, but it didn't. Wait a minute. That part I don't fully remember now. I think it came back again, or it happened with another dark energy. Anyhow, in the end, I ended up learning that it only fully goes away, that dark stuff, when you send it into the light, because light cancels out dark, right? But that's when I was in the process of learning all that stuff, because I was actually experiencing it, right? But I think it was pretty much the not magic that just tied it down so that it wasn't actively, like, basically attacking me anymore, right? But that's the kind of thing I'm sensing we're dealing with here. So this is a deep-rooted emotional trauma that came to the surface, and it's haunting us now, in a sense. But it's basically like all that stuff. So basically, whenever someone has that kind of a reaction, like that sister that I was describing, that comes from trauma, right? Like feeling rejected, feeling abandoned, and maybe other stuff too. Like, I'm not a psychologist, but not feeling good enough. And, then sort of that egoic part comes in of like, how dare you cut me off, right? Like, you don't have the right to do that, and so on, right? And there's like this possessiveness and whatever, right? So, and it did turn out in the end that that sister was also more controlling and manipulative than I had previously seen in her, right? But anyhow, that's a different story. So those are the kind of trauma, shadows, and inner demons that we gotta heal, those kind of energies, because that's that's the kind of wounding that still makes us react when we're in a situation that triggers us, rather than being able to stay calm and detached and respond rather than react, right? So that's the plan. And I did put this rattle here again because to me, this always feels kind of like a harlequin rattle, right? So it's lightheartedness, it's fun, it's joy, happiness. So with that lightheartedness, we're counterbalancing the dark, heavy energies that can, on the one hand, be anger and hate and stuff, but it can also be depression, right? So that kind of gets canceled out by pure joy, love, happiness, lightheartedness, and so on. So that's the plan for tonight. So I'm going to get started with the smudging and then call in our spirit guides. Okay. Please cleanse, clear, and renew all of our energies. And reconnect us to the pure divinity within us and around us. Reconnect us to the oneness that helps us live from and through our higher selves. And transmute any and all dark, low vibrational, and unhealed energies that are still within us and all around us. That are around us. Thank you. Dankeschön, all my relations. Okay. Dear Create. Oh, and sorry, one more quick thing. Also, like since yesterday, I've been feeling kind of congested in the front of my face. It feels like the top half, but I know I'm not sick. I know that's not it. It feels exactly the same as it always does when I have sort of really invasive energies right up in my face. It feels like someone who doesn't respect our personal space, doesn't respect our wishes and needs, or our individuality for that matter. It's someone who feels they own us and they can control us. And they're right up in our face because we are to do whatever they want, right? It's those kind of energies. It's like we're their puppets because they see us, they see our role to be there for them, at their disposal, to be their puppets, their extensions, right? And so on. So these are very deep-rooted energies and patterns that are not easy to break. So for many of us, that is a narcissistic parent or caregiver. But it also, like in most of our cases, goes back to past lifetimes where we've had those kind of energies. And again, this could also have been a past lifetime where we were, let's say, a slave or a servant or someone in an inferior role, where the person in power and control had power over us. They basically owned us or our lives, or it was our role to fully be there for them, to be at their disposal, right? Okay, so now let's call in our spirit guides. Dear Creator, higher power, source and soul energy, our higher selves, our higher spirit guides of the light, our ancestors that are in the light, dear Mother Earth, powers of all four directions, powers of the east, powers of the south, powers of the west, powers of the north, powers of all four elements, air, earth, fire, and water, and all other benevolent powers, forces, spirits, and beings of the universe that are of the light. Please join the ceremony and assist the healings, prayers, and protection with all of your powers. Thank you. Please close the circle of protection around us. Thank you. Thank you so much to our spirit guides for blocking most of this dark stuff that people keep sending us. Like in my case, over the last week or two, I've had my wrists and like going a little bit into the hand attacked with pain, as it had been 2 years ago when I was doing some important demon portal closing, and I had the same kind of attacks, but back then it was really bad and lasted a long time. And this time, whenever that pain comes, poof, right away, it goes away. So the more we're on the path, really fulfilling our soul purpose, the more protected we are as well, right? So thank you to our spirit guides for continuously and constantly shielding us from those dark, evil intentions that are projected onto us. May we call it dark magic or black magic or anything else, where people are trying to harm us or stop us or hinder us through the astral realm, so that we cannot, in their minds, fulfill our soul purpose. But that is our mission. That's why we came to this earth, in this lifetime, in this time. And nothing can stop us except our own self-doubt. Thank you, spirits. And that is what this is. Thank you. Hallelujah. Okay. So, okay. Let me actually cut this first. So, by having had narcissistic caregivers and other people in our lives that had power and control over us, or that we were dependent on, we have had enough wounding to cause the trauma of basically internally continuing the self-sabotage, the pattern of sabotaging ourselves, because when we were being traumatized actively in the past, whenever we expressed our hopes, wishes, dreams, goals, aspirations, and passions for things that we wanted to do, and things we wanted to, or careers and so on, that we wanted to become, most of us were crushed. Like, they crushed our hopes and dreams and aspirations by knocking us down, by trying to destroy our self-confidence, our positive image of ourselves, and our belief in ourselves, and our self-love in the sense of like the divine love, right? Of which a big part is believing in ourselves. So since they were so dark and traumatized and unhealed that they didn't follow their dreams, they projected all of that onto us, and they couldn't stand the thought that we might surpass them, right? So jealousy and a bunch of other stuff kicked in there. So we learned to basically that whenever we expressed something about breaking through the glass ceiling, the proverbial glass ceiling, right? That we wanted to reach for the stars, that we wanted to do really well, we learned that each time we were knocked down back to the ground. Whereas if we stayed down and we made ourselves small and, you know, not stand out, then we received positive affection and seeming support, right? So we learned that staying down was comfortable, whereas aspiring higher created a lot of conflict and pain and suffering and discomfort. So we learned to not even go there anymore, right? So that's the pattern that is coming up now that needs to be broken. So let all pattern of self-sabotage, as well as believing others that we're not good enough, not smart enough, and whatever enough, is false. Let us break that pattern, and we no longer believe those insecurities to be true. We believe in ourselves, and this old pattern, hold on, the stick is actually quite thick. I knew I could break it. There, this old pattern is now broken. We are free from these devil energies that projected all of their insecurities onto us, that tried to seem superior by knocking us down because they themselves were incredibly insecure. And the only way that they could seem superior was by knocking other people down, and that shall no longer happen. We shall not allow anyone or anything to ever make us feel small again. We shall not believe anyone who tells us that we can't do something for whatever reason. And whenever someone starts criticizing us, we shall simply recognize and see them for the unhealed person that they are, and not take it personal anymore. We shall remain fully and completely detached and in our own personal power, and these devil energies have no more power over us. Done and finished. And so it is, all my relations. And with this rattle, light-hearted, pure joy shall return into our lives. And so it is, all my relations. Let us be blessed by the divine. And let us let go of any remaining feelings of resentment, hurt, pain, suffering, and any other dark and low vibrational emotions we may feel. We're just gonna let them go. We're gonna let them float away, carried away by the Great Spirit of the air and transmuted by the Great Spirit of the fire to be returned to Source for reintegration. And so it is. Thank you. Dankeschön, all my relations. Okay, let us take a deep breath of pure divine love light energy in. And breathe out any remaining dark energies. And so it is. Thank you. Dankeschön, all my relations. Okay, if anyone wants to stay in these energies a bit longer, please pause the video. For the rest of us, let the ceremony now be finished. And we want to give lots of love, thanks, gratitude, and blessings to our spirit guides and the divine. And by spirit guides, I include our ancestors and everyone we called in earlier. Thank you so, so much for all your help with this healing. Please open the circle of protection around us, but keep us strongly safe, shielded, and protected. And so it is. Thank you. Dankeschön, all my relations, all our relations. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for watching, for being a part of the ceremony, and for being on your own healing and ascension journey. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, share, and subscribe. And I'm also sending you tons of love, light, and blessings. Be well until next time, and I wish you great abundance. Bye.